I was gonna go work on myself.
Right.
And I was gonna get better. That didn't happen. I did what I had seen family and the people around me do whenever they were depressed or stressed out or anything, which was reach for a bottle. I felt like I was walking blind and there was nobody there that was really able to support me in the way that I needed to be supported.
Hayden Panettiere has been accused of giving up her daughter. She was struggling with addiction, choosing drugs and alcohol over everything, until her ex decided enough was enough. He took their daughter into a war zone to live in Ukraine. Her ex, Waldemir, has political connections in Ukraine, and he said their daughter, Kaya, will never be back to the States. And if Hayden wants her, she will have to come and retrieve her on her own. So let's get into it. Hayden Panettiere has had an interesting career in Hollywood. She started off very young and she's continued to work in the industry. Her personal life has also been incredibly complicated. She has gotten the reputation of being an unstable parent, and more recently, Hayden Panettiere says that sending her daughter to Ukraine permanently while she was in treatment wasn't fully her decision, which from my understanding, Ukraine is in a war right now, so I would not want to send my child away there, but Hayden had to go into treatment for alcoholism, and she thought that maybe her child would come back. We've covered Hayden before on my channel, and she has had issues with addiction and with relationships and with her own kids. Hayden first spoke about having alcoholism to people back in July. The actor said that she had an addiction to opioids and alcohol ever since she was a teenager that continued into adulthood. Now, opioids is something you guys do not want to mess with. I believe fentanyl is an opioid, but they're highly addictive, and it's just not a path you want to go down, because I believe like opioids are a gateway drug, or at least like the final drug you end up, you know, addicted to or even dead.
I felt like I was walking blind and there was nobody there that was really able to support me in the way that I needed to be supported. And I don't like to ask for help either.
The former child star, who began acting at the age of 5, spoke about how her addiction really picked up when she was just 16 years old while promoting the hit series Heroes. She claimed that members of her team began giving her happy pills at the time, an effort to make her seem more energetic during interviews. Quote, "I was doing press all the time for Heroes and I was a little bit low energy. So they would give her these pills, probably like methamphetamines, like some Adderall, to pep her up and get her ready for an interview."
When I was about 16, one of the people that I was working with in my inner circle introduced me for the first time to what she called happy pills. And I had no idea what they were, but I know that when I was given one and I was sent down a red carpet, I was like lively and like totally down to answer the questions and a chatterbox.
What did you come to learn those happy pills were?
I think they were a form of Adderall.
She actually explains that they got this medication from Mexico, which I believe Adderall, yes, Adderall can be bought over the counter in Mexico. So you can go down there and buy a bunch of them without having a prescription, which would make sense. They're usually lower doses, but they could give it to her and it would give her some pep in her step. But also it does things to your body, especially long term. She said, "I should have thought that's so sketchy, but I didn't because I trusted the person, and it did give me a bit of energy." So, I mean, she's out here trying to struggle through Hollywood. She probably liked the happy pills and started asking for them once she started becoming more addicted to them. Hayden grew addicted to drugs and alcohol. While she insists that she did not do them while pregnant with her daughter Kaya, she said her problems were heightened when she developed postpartum depression after her daughter was born.
I didn't have any negative feelings towards my child. I just knew I was deeply depressed. And I didn't know where, you know, the alcoholism was ending and postpartum was beginning. And I ran myself pretty ragged. There were a lot of people who didn't believe it. They just thought I was being a crazy woman, an overly emotional female, and that it was my choice whether or not to be depressed. And it was so out of my control.
Addiction has a lot of layers to it, and Hayden explains that it wasn't just her team and the industry that pushed her to this point. It was also something in her family, something that she saw happen whenever her parents or someone else struggled, they would go to substances. So it's a type of pattern that she learned to cope with anything going wrong in her life.
I did what I had seen family and the people around me do whenever they were depressed or stressed out or anything, which was reach for a bottle.
Now, Hayden explains that things got so bad that she even became hospitalized for jaundice and was told by doctors that she would eventually need a liver transplant if she didn't stop. Hayden recalled hitting rock bottom and she decided she needed help. She said, "I was in the fetal position in bed, I couldn't get out, and I had tears in my eyes all the time." After spending years struggling with substance issues, Hayden signed over full custody of Kaya to her father in 2018, though she claims now it was not a mutual agreement. Hayden claimed that she was given no choice but to send her daughter to live with her ex permanently, and insisted that despite being sober now, the professional boxer won't let Kaya come and see her mother in the States. Hayden said, "I thought she was going over to visit him like she always did while Hayden was going into treatment. And then once she was over there, he decided that she was going to live there and wanted full custody of her," which was a shock for Hayden, but also keep in mind she was so heavy in her addiction. To give you guys some context, Hayden Panettiere and her ex Waldemir, who is a boxer in Ukraine, began dating in 2009. They got engaged in 2013 and welcomed their daughter Kaya the following year. They were in an on and off relationship for about 9 years until calling it quits. In 2015, Hayden checked herself into a treatment center to get help with her postpartum depression. She opened up about her decision later, saying, "The postpartum depression I have been experiencing has impacted every aspect of my life," which is honestly really brave of Hayden to speak about this, because there are so many other women out there who struggle with postpartum depression and they feel ashamed of it. At that time, Hayden sought treatment for alcohol and drug addiction, and it was at this time that she made the decision to give her ex Waldemir full custody of Kaya. The father-daughter duo then moved to Ukraine, which is not great timing. Hayden explains, "It wasn't my decision. In fact, I didn't even know it was happening until she was already over there. In a country that's very male-dominated, there wasn't a heck of a lot that I could do." But also, that's a little bit problematic that her daughter was in another country before she had realized that she was over in another country. Unless the father truly just swooped her up and took her on a plane and did not tell Hayden, which that's pretty problematic. That's almost like kidnapping, but I guess he does have custody, though he's not fulfilling their custody agreement. But that's why Hayden ultimately gave it up. She realized that she couldn't take care of her daughter in her current state. Hayden said, "I wanted to be a good mom to her, and sometimes that means letting them go," saying it was the hardest thing she ever had to do.
I was going to go work on myself,
Right.
and I was going to get better, and when I got better, then things could change, and she could come to me and I could have my time with her. But that didn't happen. I thought she was going over to visit him like she always did, and then once she was over there,
He didn't send her back.
which it was immediately, "I want full custody of her," which was a shock to me.
And while she does feel confident in Waldemir's ability to raise their daughter, she also realizes that her daughter needs her mom. She added, "As much as I tried to explain how much she needs her mom and how it's going to rear its ugly head when she's older later and could turn into anger, depression, sadness, and it's going to be trauma. You can explain it to someone who doesn't understand that concept or believe it until you're blue in the face." So Hayden is trying to have some type of relationship with her daughter, but Waldemir is refusing to let her go. Kaya is currently 7 years old, and he is not allowing his daughter to go and visit her mother in California, which that is a pretty long way to travel. I mean, if I was Hayden, I would be out there in Ukraine. Hayden said that she does hope the custody agreement does change one day. She said the custody battle has been terrifying to talk about because her ex Waldemir is a professional Ukrainian boxer and his brother Vitaly is the current mayor of Kyiv. Sorry if I just completely butchered that, but they've got some political ties in Kyiv? I don't think it's Kyiv because it's K-Y-I-V. Kyiv? Anyways, they've got political power and maybe they could stop the girl from ever leaving the country in the first place. She said she wants it to be known that she never threw out or gave away her daughter, in saying that's something that people misunderstand about her. But I mean, looking at the story, it kind of seems like she did do that. She says, "I've never endangered her," noting that she didn't think she'd done anything around Kaya that would have caused any authorities to take her away. I guess pertaining to her drug use and alcohol drinking. She said the comments people made or the things they assumed about my situation with my daughter are just so heartbreaking. There was a cover of a magazine and it said something like, why Hayden chose to give up her daughter. And I was like, that's just so misrepresented. People were like, how dare you? And you're a horrible mother. And I could never do that to my child. She said, quote, it was tough and it took me a long time to be able to talk about it. It's scary. You don't want to piss anyone off, especially the person who has control over your child. Now, while I do think Hayden can probably do a little bit more to go and get her child, it seems like a battle that she's almost defeated on, which is not great for a mother of a 7-year-old. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. I hope that her daughter's in a safe place in Ukraine, because you know, the war wasn't mentioned at all in any of these articles. We didn't ask Hayden about it. I don't know if the daughter is in a war zone. I would be more like stressed out over that. Like I don't know, it scares me. I just watched Civil War last night at the movies with my boyfriend, and it was pretty freaky. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be a little bit more political, it was a little bit more artistic, but watching like war zones go down and watching like in the movie DC was being shot down and being like struck and stuff, and you know, I lived in DC before, so then like seeing the city that I was like in being destroyed, I was like, oh my gosh, imagine if this happened here. I really don't want us to ever have war. I wish we didn't have any war anywhere. I don't like war. And why are we talking about, oh yeah, because Ukraine. Because Ukraine and Hayden. Yeah, I hope her daughter's okay. I hope war zone, because I feel like that city, Kyiv, I mean, I don't think that's Kyiv. Like, isn't Kyiv like the main city? He's not the mayor of the main city, is he? Because like she needs to get out of there like months ago. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I listen to NPR every day, but I need to listen a little closer. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in a new one soon. If you have any video ideas for me, here's my email, SloanWellKnown@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye guys.